And here's a rare picture of Mick Doohan going onto the grass, but he controlled things and came back to take the pole, his 5th of the season.
500cc race, still the sun was shining, repaying the fans for their loyalty, coming to round 8 of the FIM World Motorcycling Championship. The wind was a little up, but not as strong, fortunately, as practice. Mick Doohan there on the pole position, just discussing the final few minor adjustments to his team Repsol Honda. Heads off that front row, just ahead of the Spaniard Carlos Checa, the Suzuki of Gobert in 3rd, and the other Honda of Nobuatsu Aoki in 4th. Second row, Taddy Okada, first time off the front row this year. And then Takuma Aoki, we wait for the lights to go green, and they do! It's a good start from Nobuatsu Aoki on the left-hand side. He almost squeezes Anthony Gobert out. Norifume Abe directly up behind the Australian. So into the first corner at Tambirello, it's going to be Nobuatsu Aoki from Anthony Gobert in 2nd place. What a start from the Suzuki. Gobert in 2nd, then there's Checa in 3rd, Doohan in 4th, as they stream down out of the Tambirello towards the Villeneuve 2nd chicane. However, they're already through the Variante Outer, streaming through there. Gobert lifting the front of his Lucky Strike Suzuki. But the lead is going to be changing hands between Carlos Checa and Nobuatsu Aoki. Checa does get into the lead. Checa leads halfway round lap 1 here at Imola. Checa now from Nobuatsu Aoki, 2 Hondas, and then a Suzuki of Anthony Gobert still in 3rd position. Doohan and Takuma Aoki in 4th and 5th place respectively. There they are as they come through the Acqua Minerale. Up the hill they go once more. That's where we saw Gobert fall in practice, of course. No falling here, but he loses a bit of an advantage because he goes wide out of Tosa. Doohan doesn't need a second invitation to come up alongside and take another place away from his fellow countrymen. Out the Piratella, Doohan is on a charge. He's up to 3rd and now he's up to 2nd. He immediately goes past Nobuatsu Aoki as we come into the Variante Alta. We're on board with Carlos Checa looking back at Mick Doohan on his big number 1 machine. It's looming closer and far too close for Carlos Checa because he comes up into the lead. Doohan now from Checa, from Nobuatsu Aoki, 1, 2 and 3 up the hill. There's Cesar Pons, he's the crew chief for, of course, Carlos Checa. So now we have Doohan up into the lead, and have a look. Oh, the 2nd place battle is going to be close. Oh, Carlos Checa almost got collected there by Nobuatsu Aoki. Aoki coming from 3rd to 2nd. So Checa loses a little bit of the momentum on that lap. There's the FTC Technical Sports crew. They are the crew tending, of course, Nobuatsu Aoki. Doriano Romboni, he's out of the race on his Aprilia V-twin. There's Carlo Panat, the team boss, on the left-hand side with the sunglasses on. But Nobuatsu Aoki, he's up the pace a little here at Imola. A 1 minute 49.7, that's the fastest lap of the race. He's beginning to look like he can take Doohan, and Doohan looks over to his left-hand side, playing games now with Nobuatsu Aoki, and it looks like he's let the Japanese rider go through up into the lead. Doohan, well, he's been accusing people of following him too much, so he said, well, I'm going to follow you now. So Nobuatsu Aoki leads from Doohan and Takuma Aoki, but Doohan then takes that place back from the Japanese rider. He's had enough of following him for a while. They come up on the Patton. He's at the back of the field, and also the Honda V-twin of Frederick Prota. They go round Tosa, the back markers easily getting out of the way. Doohan comes across the line once more. He has just got Nobuatsu Aoki behind him, but Aoki is losing space lap by lap. We've got 4 laps to go here. 3rd position is Takuma Aoki now, because he's just got ahead of Carlos Checa. Checa, though, he's got the speed as he comes down into the Tambirello. He's certainly got the speed. Oh, the back wheel comes out a little as he comes into the chicane, and he goes into the gravel. Keep it upright, Carlos. If you make any rash movement with the steering, you'll be down eating gravel. He just keeps it upright. Well, that was any chance of 3rd position well and truly out of the window. Takuma Aoki, you can see that the lead that the Japanese rider has now got ahead of the Spaniard. There's Carlos through once more on pit wall, trying to discuss matters, but it won't aid their man to get up onto the podium, because Doohan is going to win this race. He comes out of the last corner and wheelies over the line to win the Imola Grand Prix here in 1997. That's 7 wins from 8 so far for the Australian. in this year. Nobuo Aoki just raises the front momentarily. He gets that second position, his best ever finishing position in a 500cc Grand Prix race. They're happy on pit wall. That's Nobuo Aoki's crew. Takuma Aoki gets his first podium position for Team Repsol Honda this year. Wheeling like crazy. He's happy. He certainly should be. Duan Wen wins by over 8 seconds from Nobuatsu Aoki, and then Takuma in third. Well, it's the first time we've ever seen two brothers, of course, on the podium, with Nobu, the eldest, and Takuma, the middle of the three Aoki Fireball brothers. Duan then now, of course, leads that championship by a little bit more, 93 points ahead of the absent Alex Crivier.
Yeah, well, it seemed he was just in my, he was just following my every move, so I thought I'd break his concentration a little bit and put him in front for a little while. And he seemed to be making a few mistakes, and I'd show him a wheel whenever I could, but without the intention of passing him. And I think that just perhaps did his head in a bit, because once I got by him, then he wasn't able to come again.
Welcome to the German Grand Prix. It's round 9 of the FIM World Motorcycling Championships. And we're at the Nürburgring. We're in the heart of the Eiffel Mountains. We don't use the 14-mile track, as is known as the Nordschleife, but the 2.8-mile newer track that was built in 1983, first used by the motorcycles in 1984. This is the town of Adenau, and this gives you a taste of the local Eiffel countryside. Well, this is the newer Nürburgring track. The old track is just at the top of your screens, and all the grandstands were waiting to cheer on Ralph Ulman, the local hero in the 250cc class.
Spain's Alex Crivier, the only rider to beat Mick Duan this season, had his injured hand operated on again in Spain by Spanish specialists Dr. Villarrubias and Dr. Mir. Both believe that Crivier will probably be able to ride at the British Grand Prix at Donington on August 17th. Crivier, you'll recall, injured his left hand in a high-speed crash when he was high-sided at the Dutch TT. 500 practice was run under wet and dry conditions. It rained in the morning both on Friday and Saturday, but was dry and warm on Friday and Saturday afternoon for the qualifying sessions. Anthony Gober showed up at Nürburgring with his leathers already well scruffed from a private testing crash at Brno. Then he went down again hard in turn 1 in the closing minutes of the 500 session. He qualified 15th, and he is finding the Lucky Strike Suzuki to be a difficult beast to tame. Juan Bautista Borja was 12th on the L500 rock, but was in the gravel during the final section. Here we see him off the track, just into the edge of the gravel, back onto the track. He crossed, went off onto the wet grass, but just as it looked like he'd saved it, the front end tucked under and down he went. He was uninjured. He qualified 12th. Jürgen van der Gurberg was the top privateer. He qualified his Joe Miller V-twin Honda 500 in 11th place and was, like several others, including Luca Catalora, openly hoping for rain to improve his chances in the race. Doriano Romboni on the Aprilia 460 V-twin was 7th, but he lost valuable practice time on both Friday and Saturday when his bike stopped on the track. On Friday, it was because he left the pits with the fuel turned off. On Saturday, it was an ignition problem that left him stranded. First of the V-twins was Honda Repsol Works rider Takuma Aoki, the middle of the three Aoki Fireball brothers, who qualified sixth after struggling to learn his way around the Nürburgring. Here he had an excursion across the gravel, but was able to keep control of the machine. He was one of the many riders who showed up jet-lagged after flying to Japan to test for the 8 hours. In Germany, the Marlboro Team Roberts Molinus KR-V3 had its best ever qualifying run as Jean-Michel Bayle slotted the little triple into the second row with a time of 1:39.2, less than a second off the pole. They've come a long way, but there's still a long way to go before the machine becomes fully competitive. Team Red Bull Yamaha's Luca Cadalora edged Bayle off that front row in the final session. The Italian, who won his last race here last year, was openly hoping for rain, but felt that on the day he would still have a shot at a podium finish even in the dry. Tadayuki Okada, back from testing in Japan, was back on the front row again after starting on the second row in the last two Grand Prix. The Repsol Honda Works rider is still feeling the effects of his crashes in Mugello, the A1 ring, and also at Paul Ricard. Spain's Carlos Checa, movie star Honda Pons, was back on form again in Germany, qualifying second, just 0.3 of a second back of Mick Doohan. All the pressure of the Spanish media coming on his shoulders as he, the leading Spanish representative now in the 500 class until at least Alex Crivier returns. Mick Doohan, who has won 31 of his last 50 starts and 5 Grand Prix in a row, took his 6th straight pole at Nürburgring. The Repsol rider has won 7 of the first 8 Grand Prix this season.
Well, the 500 race, it was dry for them, with Carlos Checa assuming his position on the front row. The Spaniard on his movie star Honda Pons machine alongside Michael Doohan on the right-hand side of your screen there, with the mechanic with the red sweatshirt on. So, Doohan to Checa, then Okada and Luca Cadalora on the Yamaha. That was the first row. Second row then headed off eventually by Jean-Michel Bayle. He was ahead of Takuma Aoki, Doriano Romboni, the Italian on the Aprilia, and the Brazilian Eric Barros on the Honda V-twin. Luca Cadalora closest to our camera, revving away. The lights go from red to green. Bit of a gap between the lights, actually. But it's the charge down to the first corner. Bayle's got a good start. Doohan's got an appalling start. Romboni's nowhere. Romboni's gone backwards in one totally easy maneuver into the first corner. It is going to be Luca Cadalora that leads affairs. There is Petruccini. He's at the back of the... Oh, Gobert having a bit of a moment through the first chicane. So it's Cadalora from Barros from Okada. Doohan having a big moment in the final chicane when he comes round to complete that first lap. Lucky to stay on the bike as a whole. So it's Cadalora from Okada from Barros now from Norikabe. And then Takuma Aoki loitering with intent, trying to take a place away from his fellow Japanese rider, number 5, Norik Abe. Bayle looks over his shoulder and he sees, oh, Cadalora's out of the race. Luca Cadalora down and out of the race here this afternoon when easily leading it. There is his crew on pit wall, and they see that their afternoon's work is done and dusted. Doohan comes up another place. He's now up into 3rd position. He's behind 2nd place man Carlos Checa. So with Tadej Okada away into the lead, there he is. We've got Doohan on the prowl and on the hunt for another win this year. There is the battle for 2nd and 3rd position. We're on bike with Carlos Checa, but Doohan tucks up and he comes past the Spaniard to our left-hand side, Checa's right-hand side, and he loses another place. So Doohan is in 2nd with Checa now in 3rd. Down the start-finish line once more from our helicam. You can see the heat haze shimmering off that start-finish line. It looks as if Tadej Okada's floating in midair almost as he starts another lap. Further down, we've got Takuma Aoki still in 4th. Nobuo Aoki's elder brother behind him. Barros, Abe, and Gibernau, 7th and 8th position for those two Yamaha Team Radio machines. They're having by far and away their best run so far this year. Jean-Michel Bayle down in 9th, but not far off the place ahead of him. That's Cito Pons. He's on pit wall, and he's just seen this. Oh, Carlos Checa, I wonder what he muttered with his lips. And he's seen his rider go down the road, the sparks coming from underneath the V4 Honda from Checker. We have a full view of him going down the road, but he is okay. But whilst we were looking at that, we've got Mick Doohan up into the lead. Whilst we were looking at Checker skating down the road, Mick Doohan has got ahead of Tadayuki Okada. So it's Doohan from Okada, now from Takuma Aoki up into third. Nobuo Aoki, his elder brother, behind him, number 18 on the blue Honda V4. Alex Barros is behind these pair. He is down in that fifth position. Still the bandana flying from underneath Takuma Aoki's helmet. He looks underneath his arm. Oh, what a disappointment for Jean-Michel Bayle. He started from the second row of the grid in fifth position, by far its best qualifying performance in only its 9th ever race, and his race comes to an abrupt halt. No problems though for Mick Doohan. He's leading it and he's wheeling over the line because he's going to win it. The German Grand Prix, that is his 8th win from 9 races in 1997. Okada does get second position, but this is the battle for third. It was Nobuo Aoki who had momentarily got ahead of Takuma Aoki whilst the cameras were away, but Takuma Aoki has got the advantage back from his elder brother. So this is a battle of the family, never mind a battle for places, and it's the last place on the podium. Third position does go to Takuma Aoki. He's just ahead of his elder brother. That's Nobuo Aoki's pit crew on pit wall with the LCC Technical Sports Team, and that is it. So Doohan, Okada from Aoki, Japanese riders, 3 of them in the top 4. Campaign spraying starts, and it's Team Repsol Honda filling the first 3 places on the podium. So Doohan leading the championship by 87 points from Nobuatsu Aoki and Okada.
Well, I don't think I've broken any this year. It's you know, there's still a long way to go in the season. We just go race by race. Today, I think, you know, it wasn't such a good start, and then had a few moments early on. So I was very fortunate to get back in front there, but the bike was working extremely well. Had a few slight grip problems, but I guess everyone had more than I did, so it worked out good, and thanks again to everyone in the team.